Hi there folks, Borislav247 here with another Days Gone challenge mode video. And this is of course from the Days Gone remastered version, although everything that I'm showing here will work on the standard PlayStation 5 version and even the PS4 version. And this is all about how to take care of all the challenges without using any patch perks and without using any rings. It sounds like a tough ask. Well, honestly, folks, it's not. Now, don't get me wrong, the patch perks definitely have their place because they are applicable not only to the challenges but to the main Days Gone game. And the rings that you can unlock and use give you some tremendous advantages. In fact, when you're going for world top scores on the leaderboards, yeah, these rings and whatnot become essential. But when you are just going for gold scores, honestly, these rings and patch perks, you don't need them. Now, the reason that I wanted to show all these methods is this. A lot of people don't want to take the time to work through every single one of the Days Gone challenges and doing them in a certain order to unlock this and unlock that. If you want a video that runs like that, then I strongly recommend you check out my Going for Gold challenge mode video, as I still regard that as the definitive way of going about getting all these challenges done. But if you just want to pick off one or two, just to unlock one or two of the patch perks for the main Days Gone game, all of these methods are as good as it gets. And you don't need the faff of having to work your way through certain ones in order to make other ones viable. So the format of this video is a very simple one. I am going to be showing every challenge in the order that Bench Studio released them way back 6 to 7 years ago, and after I have completed every challenge, I'm going to erase the data so that the patch perks are no longer in play for the next one, and then just rinse and repeat through all 12. So let's get right to it. Right then folks, I'm starting with Surrounded, but for the rest of the video, before every single challenge is actually shown, I am going to have a screenshot of the particular challenge up on screen like this, and I'm going to go through showing what is and is not required with the sub-challenges, because a lot of these sub-challenges simply aren't necessary. The only reason I'm showing a screenshot is so that I'm not having to speak over bloody music all the time that is playing. You will see once the action starts that I do not have any patch perks and I do not have any rings. So now that that's out of the way, let's take a look at Surrounded. This one is all about the multiplier. Pure and simple. So 3 of these 4 sub-challenges simply are not required. The only one that is applicable is ranked. And in order to get the gold score on this particular challenge, you're required to get the multiplier to around 300. Normally, the gold score will drop at that point, which is 120,000 for this particular challenge. Now, most of the methods that I'm going to show for taking up these challenges are pretty much legit, but it's worth knowing that 2 of them are blatantly cheating. And this is one of them, folks. You'll have probably seen this in a previous video, but I'm going to show it again, and I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about the actual method of getting the job done here, because a lot of people, even though they know about this method, don't approach it in the right way. I'm going to simply show you how it's done. So, let's get to it. Now then folks, very unusually, before I'm actually going to show the run where I show how everything's taken care of, I have to first show you what not to do, because this particular method is dependent upon you getting to a ledge on the very first attempt. Because if you don't, there is something very important that you have to do. So I want to show it at the very start here so that I don't get all the comments under the sun saying that this does not work. The idea here is to get onto this ledge right here. Now, if you happen to make a mistake, I've just actually dropped off, but in this case, yeah, I'm going to end up dying here. eventually. But this is the point that most people make the mistake when trying to take this on in the way that I show. When you get to this screen here, it will give you the option, quit challenge or retry. Never ever select the retry option. It's always got to be quit challenge, then reload up the challenge again, and then have another go. And likewise in this scenario here, things haven't gone right, you've paused the game, and you're looking to go to the restart challenge option. Simply do not do it. If you select the restart challenge here after pausing, you will not be able to do this challenge in the way that I show. Always quit the challenge, then reload up surrounded. That way you will get no problems whatsoever. Okay, let's get started. This is the first screen that you're presented with when you go into challenges. And then from here, as you can see, nothing in play whatsoever. Okay, from the very start, looking to turn around, I'm looking to get to the very top roof section of the Bank of Metolius here. And this is the quickest way to do it. Once you're up to the top here, do make sure to pick up all the ammunition that you can. You don't need to worry about the medkit because you're not going to take any damage. But once you've got all the ammunition, make sure that you select a weapon, and while you're aiming it, look to go over those boxes. And eventually, you'll get down here. Now, all the freakers will start running past you and heading up to the roof section here until you kill one. Very important. I'm just waiting here just to show everybody. And by the way, if you don't do things right and then select retry, that will happen every single time. But now, I've taken out one of them. And here they come. They will congregate below me. But, very important, I do not want to be attempting to start the multiplier just yet. Don't have anywhere near enough freakers in order to get the job done here. So, with a combination of little stubby gunfire and normal Molotovs, I'm going to work the total kills up to around about 100. Because although I've got a great number for the throwables there, I have no intentions of using any of those. Only the normal Molotovs, because they don't really help you a great deal when you're trying to get the multiplier going once you start it off. As you can see here, you get round about 10 to 14 kills every time, but it takes a bit of time for them to burn. And I've just seen on the minimap on the bottom right there that it is now flashing, so that is the next wave of freakers heading over to this position. But I'm still not ready to start that multiplier yet. Most people, with all the problems they get, is the fact that they can't maintain the multiplier, and the reason is a very simple one. You simply don't have enough freakers in order to maintain it. Biggest mistake that everybody makes, because I've had a ridiculous amount of comments in regards to this saying, why do you make it look so easy? I simply can't maintain the multiplier. Well, this is why. You're starting it at the wrong time. The total kills that you can see up in the top right of the screen, yep, that's working away nicely. It is normally round about the 100 mark when you finally get the next wave of freakers heading over here. You just have to make sure to keep an eye on the minimap on the bottom right there, because that is your guide. So at this point, I've used up all of my normal Molotovs. The last thing that I really need to be doing here is just using this weapon, which is no good for the multiplier at all, but just using it here to get a few more kills and ensuring that that timer keeps going. Shouldn't be too long now before... there we go, just as I'm saying it. There is the next wave of hordes coming over. Now once I get this lot over, that is when I'm going to start the multiplier. And I always do it in the same way. I start with a napalm Molotov because it gets a lot of kills very quickly. From there, I go into a bit of gunplay just to get the multiplier screaming up quickly. And from there, you'll see how it plays out. Yep, I've got most of them over here now, and you will notice that you do get a bit of control over the horde from up here as well. I like to move them right over to the far side here, and here we go. This is the start of the multiplier. There we go, straight away I've got up to nearly 70. Gonna hit them again. And this is where I'm going to change the tactics a touch, because I'm going to head over to the far right hand side of this ledge. And I'm going to do this for a couple of reasons. One is because there is an area over here that is fantastic for being able to take them out with grenades. Because as the body count starts to pile up, you will find that if you're trying to just throw things straight below you, you're going to start getting a few problems. But right now, I'm looking to get a normal attractor out there. So I'm going to make use of that barrel and now get these grenades going. Because at this point, this is when your multiplier is at its most vulnerable. You just want to make sure that you're giving yourself every chance to keep that thing going. So I'm just going for all three there, and then after that I'm going to start taking out some of these freakers that are coming up this way, because when you're over the far side here, yeah, you can get them all coming up pretty damn close. But do be aware of this: if you're over the far right hand side, you will sometimes get the odd freaker that can actually get onto the ledge, so do be aware of that. But right now I'm going with an attractor bomb just to keep that multiplier still going solid. And let's see what I've got here, because I can potentially get the gold taken care of right now, because I still have one napalm molotov yet left to use. I'm going to make sure I'm going to use it here. I'm guaranteed I will get over 40 kills here. So I'm waiting for it, waiting for it. There we go. That is the gold medal taken care of. So from here now I can pretty much do whatever I like. Just going to go with another couple of pipe bombs, and yeah, there we go. I did mention about this before. If you're not careful on this section, you will get one or two visitors getting onto that ledge section. Doesn't happen very often, but just be mindful of it. So I'm going to move the video on a bit until I get to near the end of this run. So at this stage in the proceedings, I've used up most of my ammunition, but I do still have some proximity bombs that I can use. So I might as well just come off this ledge, use up the last of what I've got, and then bring this challenge to a close. And this won't actually last that long, because I am starting with no patch perks and no rings. Yeah, the stamina for Deke is absolutely woeful. You can't keep going like this for very long. It's also another very good reason why I want to show this method for taking out this challenge. You're obviously not dependent upon stamina when you are on that ledge. And there we go, confirmation of what I have achieved here. A nice 500,000 score. And the very first level that you move up from when you first start the challenges, you see come up there, Prospect, which shows you I am simply on level 1 of that. Right, challenge number 2 that was released is called Survive, and as the name suggests, you simply have to stay alive as long as you can while wave upon waves of enemies try to kill you. But as brutal as this sounds, it's not anywhere near as difficult as what you might think. First of all, you do not have a timer on this particular challenge, which is fantastic, so you really can take this at your own pace. You can go as quickly or be as stealthy and patient as you like. Now, the gold score requirements for this, I don't even need to show this up on screen because it's already up on the top left of the screen here. There's 3 figures, you can see 6,000, 12,000 and 33,000. 33,000 is the gold requirement for this challenge. Now when it comes to the sub-challenges, I am having to introduce some new figures here, because what you always see at the very start of any challenge is the bronze level requirements for the sub-challenges. And more often than not, you always need more than this in order to get a gold score. And 3 of these particular sub-challenges do require better kill rates than what they are first showing, with the exception of brutality, but I'll get to that at the end of this, because it's the one that you should be least concerned about. In order to get the job done with this, you first require to get 6 stealth kills through Silent Night, and be aware that the 6 kills that you get through Silent Night also get added on to Brutality, because you're taking them out with your knife at the end of the day. After this, you want to be prioritising in a big way shots fired. You require 75 headshots and you must get them all. This one is very important. Now, the third sub-challenge, which you can sometimes actually trigger the gold score on this challenge before you reach 100 kills, but Relentless does require you to get 100 kills in order to get that sub-challenge to a gold standard and the most in the way of bonus points. The last one, Brutality, I always recommend you just try and get at least 10 kills with a melee weapon. But given that you've already taken care of 6 of them with Silent Night, yeah, there is opportunities where you get to use a melee weapon to get these last 4 in a great number of instances. And once you've actually got your 75 headshots, if you so choose, you can start to go after the rest of them just with melee weapon kills, if you like. I don't recommend you do this because you always want to keep with the gun options because it's just far safer. The enemies on this particular challenge at the very beginning pose very little threat. They don't do a great deal of damage. What you normally find is after you get to round about over 30 kills on this particular challenge, then you have to start being a little bit more mindful of what you're doing. But when you see how this is done and how it plays out, yeah, this isn't actually too bad a challenge. And it's also one of my favourites. So, without any further ado, let's get right to this. Right then, here we go. First priority is to get these 6 stealth kills taken care of. And you get 2 very nice starters in order to get the job done here. Now, what I like to do, and this is not an essential by any means, I just choose to do this every time, but depending on how many kills with melee weapons you're looking to get near the end of the run will depend on whether you're actually wanting to go looking for scrap. I'm just purely going to get some scrap here, just to give me some options. So, yep, there's the second one right there. They're going to get it in the same way. Just waiting, looking for that green triangle prompt there, which just shows that you can take them out and you will get registered with the stealth kill. And at the same time as well, as I mentioned before, you will also get credit for 2 melee weapon kills. Now, from here, I'm just looking to get out of sight and just wait for the next wave of marauders. And I am expecting to take out all 3 of these. Because after this, then I can start to get on with the headshots, even though I still have 1 stealth kill to take care of. That's okay. I'll get the stealth kill that I require pretty quickly. Lots of opportunities present themselves, but if you just hide in any set of bushes, they will eventually come towards you. And you don't always get away with this tactic here, where you're actually coming out, taking them out, and still remaining unseen. Yep, that one there just simply wasn't having it, but I got away with that tactic for the first one. Now, if you use a rock, the nearest marauder will usually show up via survival vision. Sometimes it can be a little bit pernickety, I will warn you. Sometimes it does take a wee while before it works, but it's very handy to have if you just have 1 marauder left and you're looking for their position. But now I can start to move things on a little bit quicker. Now, I did pick up a rifle here. You don't have to. The 9mm that you get at the start is still more than adequate to do the job. But throughout the course of this run now, there are 4 numbers that you really want to be remembering, and they are hugely important. And the reason for remembering these numbers is so that when certain items or certain scenarios appear, you're ready for them. Now, that's the last of the stealth kills taken care of, so now it's just all about headshots. But let's talk about these numbers. There's only 4 of them, and these 4 numbers that you need to remember are 11, 16, 31, and 68. And I'll just highlight on screen there the section that you need to be looking out for these numbers. This is your total number of Marauder kills. So, what is the significance of these? Well, I'll let you know as I get to each one of them. The first one is coming up very quickly, which is 11. Now, once you have 11 Marauder kills, what you are actually looking for from the next wave of Marauders is an SAF-12. They're also carrying Stingers, but I do not recommend using that particular gun because the SAF-12 is, in my opinion, a far more accurate weapon to use. But throughout the course of this run now, you will see a very distinct pattern. In between killing the Marauders and waiting for the next set, I'm always looking to loot as much as possible. This just basically builds up your med kits, builds up your bandages, and other items that can be of use. Because as you get deeper into this challenge, you will require bandages and possibly even medkits from time to time. Medkits are usually the extreme if you have taken a heavy amount of damage and you're close to death. Hopefully you never get to that situation. But there we go, that is the SAF-12 taken care of. Now the next number that I mentioned was 16. And it's coming up very soon. But another critical piece of information that you have to know about this challenge, and you'll see me do this every time. A lot of people might think, well, the best way of getting the job done every time you get these waves is the art of surprise, where you're waiting for them to get near before firing. Don't do that. Always let them know where you are very early, because you will find that the Marauders will take defensive positions very quickly, giving you time to take out the ones that you need to. Now, this I cannot stress enough. Do not mess about with this guy, because the melee weapon that you're after is the sledgehammer. It's a fantastic early melee weapon to get, because although with the majority of the Marauders they take 2 hits to take out, the most dangerous and toughest of the Marauders, that bad boy will take out with 1 swing. And I will use that a bit later on. But here's the thing, when that particular Marauder drops that sledgehammer, I have seen on many a playthrough of this where that sledgehammer simply disappears if you don't get it quick enough. And it's about the only weapon that I've ever had this problem with, or melee weapon I should say. So that is why I normally go for just making sure that I get a melee kill on that particular one. And yeah, now that I've got that weapon, it's all good. It's again just making sure that my damage, my health I should say, is okay. And then every time when I get the chances, just go for looting as much stuff as you can. And oh, there's a pipe bomb, thank you very much. Nope, I don't want to use it. Not yet anyways. And for anybody wondering just why I'm being so brazen when going for all these items that I can pick up, it's because up until you've taken out about the first 30, the Marauders aren't really presenting you with a ridiculous amount of problems in terms of high damage that they can do to you. You really can be quite extreme in doing things, even when they get shots away that are close on to flipping. Perfect example right there. I've taken a couple of really bad shots there and haven't done a ridiculous amount of damage. But the MO is the same for every wave pretty much that comes. You make sure that you get space, make sure that they know where your position is very quickly, and then try and take out as many of them as you can while they're getting over to your position. And don't worry about the multiplier. You do not need to be worrying about that at all. It goes down fairly quickly anyways, but it's only when you're going for leaderboard scores that you really start to think about trying to make sure that you take out one wave very quickly every time, so you're maybe getting the multiplier up to 4 and 5 and whatnot, depending on how many marauders there is that you're dealing with. But this is another very nice tactic that you can employ. When you get down to your last marauder, you can potentially just take the time to go around and pick up any things that you've possibly missed. But now we are on to the magic number of 31. Why is this so important? Well, the next lot of marauders, they are carrying MWSs. A fantastic weapon to get your hands on, and it's one that I usually keep for most of the game once I get it. First of all, they're very accurate, but secondly, you can pick up a ridiculous amount of ammunition for these. So, just want to make sure that I got the weapon that I needed there. I will head back up to that area fairly soon, because there will be a lot of ammo up there that I can get my hands on. But here we are again. By letting them know very early where you are, they're all of a sudden an awful lot more cautious, and it gives you an awful lot more time. Even these heavies that you just have to make sure to shoot at the head area, you will eventually pop off the armor, usually in one shot, and then you can take them out with a headshot. But those particular enemies, yeah, they are fantastic to take out with the sledgehammer. One swing will do the job with those. So yeah, unfortunately, because I don't have any patch perks or any rings, yeah, the stamina does not last very long at all. But that's okay in this particular challenge, doesn't really matter too much. And again, you can see here they've taken up defensive positions, and I can just pick them off at will here. And yes, it is now rinse and repeat, because I do have a wee while to go before I get to that figure of 68. So again, the minimap on the bottom right is your guide. Always be watching that, because it shows you the direction in which they're coming from. It also shows you the proximity that they are to you, the enemies. If there is one that's getting too close, like in this case, yeah, you will see all of a sudden that perimeter circle going right to the centre. And you know what? Eliminator there. I'll pick it up just in case I do happen to run out of ammo at any point. But the MWS is a fantastic weapon to be using. When you're going for these headshots, always just be looking to be aiming a tad on the high side, if anything. Admittedly, with this particular one, if you're stationary, it's pretty damn accurate, but you just want to make sure that you're not really clipping any of these guys with normal kills, which is just basically anything that's not a headshot. It's not the end of the world, by the way, if you do happen to have a few mistakes. The fact that you don't need to be worrying too much about melee kills at the very end with the brutality sub-challenge means that you do have a lot of room for error. The only time that you do or can get problems is if you're going for a high score on the leaderboard, where you need to be guaranteed to get every gold score for every sub-challenge. Then you can only be afforded about, I can't remember if it's 3 or 4 mistakes. I think it's 4. You could have 4 kills where if you don't get them precisely what you want, you'll get away with it, but no more than that. It's not an issue when you're taking care of the challenge like this. And again, because I've simplified it in terms of what I'm using with my weapons, you don't have to be worrying about what they're all carrying and whatnot. Again, just letting them know early where I am. And that's it. Not all of them will stop like that, but the majority of them will. And so far this is going pretty well. Now, not quite at the magic figure of 68 yet, but this next wave that come do have a couple of heavy hitters. They're armoured, mainly on top. This is one of them, and this one is actually a little bit of a problem. You can see this one was advancing quite quickly towards my position, but that's taken care of. Now, there's another one right here, and I'll just show this as a perfect example. That sledgehammer that I've got, this is why you want it. There we go. No hassle, no fuss. That guy didn't see that coming. But this next lot, yeah, there can be a problem. You've got a few heavy hitters on this, including the one that is absolutely covered in head to toe with armour. But this is what the smoke bombs are for, if you have one. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. There are other ways of taking out this lot, but I'm going to take the time to take out some of the worst ones here. There we go. That is a potentially tricky wave taken care of. Now, the next wave of marauders after this are also very important. I just didn't include this as a number because once you get to 68, the ones that come after this are very important because one of them has a fire axe. So, just take my time here because it's one of the slot that were up here, and there we go. You can also get your hands at this point on a PDW. Now, because I'm in a good position here with what I've got with this particular weapon, I do still have quite a number of bullets here, but I will go after this sidearm because it is incredibly accurate. Truth be told, it's the one that you could just keep using until the very end of this challenge. So, before I go looking for this PDW, just one more marauder to take care of, and yeah, I really should have been sorting the health a little bit sooner than what I did, but just showing what I've got right now in terms of items. It would have been nice to have had some more smoke bombs, but you know what, it is what it is. Right, PDW, that is the one that I was looking for. And I will take the time here to get as many items picked up as possible. Because when you're this near the end, and a lot of the big bonuses are coming up with the sub-challenges, you don't want any mistakes. You just want to make life as easy as possible. And yes, I'm god-awful shooting there, but never mind. Right. Very close to getting the gold on the sub-challenges for headshots. I only require 3 more. So as you can see on screen there, it's saying 72 of 75. And I'll get them all here. Look at this bad boy. There we go. I've got it, but you know what? I'm just going to keep going with the headshots. You get 150 points for each of them. And yep, fire axe. I'm going to bring this into play here. Now, the next points bonus that you get with melee kills comes around 20. Sorry, tell a lie. It comes with 15. Which I'll definitely get. I'm not interested in going for the 30, but yeah, right now it's just seeing out the last of these because there's 3 more waves still to come. So let's just make life out. And that could have ended in disaster there. I really wasn't quick enough in trying to take out the marauders there. That really was my own fault. I was just a little bit careless. But there we go. Before I've even taken care of the 100 kills with the marauders, I have now got the gold score. But I'm going to keep going just to show what is left because there is only 2 more waves. Yeah, let's get out the PDW here. Make slight work of this lot. Now the last lot that are coming up is an incredibly dangerous bunch, but I'm just going to have a lot of fun with them because I've got all manners of items. If I had any smoke bombs, which I don't think I have, but I'm just repairing the fire axe now. Yeah, sod law. I just don't have enough scrap. I could have taken care of that very early on in the game, but it's alright, it is what it is. I'm just going to start throwing a few of these items, and then I'm going to get to work with bloody hell, there we go. This is how dangerous this last lot are. One of them nearly put my lights out there, but I'm going to get my special weapon in effect here and just go for it. I couldn't care whether I get headshots or not, but you ideally want to be hitting the top area because it takes off their armor there and takes them out of the equation pretty quickly. There we have it. That is survive. Taken care of quite easily, despite the fact that I did make quite a number of mistakes on that. But you comfortably get what you need to get. And very unusually here, it's showing member as the rep level. That is actually rep level 2. But I will let this loading sequence go to when it goes back to the challenges page, just to show that it was done with the first challenge. And that's it, that bumped me straight up to level 2 from doing that one challenge. Right then, moving on to the third challenge that was ever released, and this is called Drifter's Run. This is the first of the bike challenges, and arguably one of the most difficult because you do have to negotiate some really tricky terrain in order to get the job done here. But I'm going to show a fantastic run route that will make life as simple as possible. Now, the gold score requirements for this are 80,000. However, given that one of the challenges, one of the sub-challenges that is called Furious, if you manage to complete the run in 2 minutes 35 or less, you will get a whopping 30,000 point bonus. Now, given that I show a run that is not only very efficient but is also very quick to do, you're guaranteed that you're going to get this unless you make a major mistake. So all of a sudden, that 80,000 points that you require for a gold score is basically reduced to 50,000. And this is where the other 3 sub-challenges come into play, because you do not require a gold requirement for all of these. Slider, which requires you to do 20 seconds of drifting for the gold requirement, that is the only one really, as well as Furious, that you have to get to a gold standard. The other 2, ramped up, only requires you to get 9 ramp jumps at the most. And guaranteed you'll get these when doing the challenge in the way that I do it. And the same with airtime. That is a silver medal requirement in order to get 25 seconds of airtime. The gold is 30, but honestly, it's not required. There is also a very nice workaround that I add on to this particular run that ensures that you will get a gold score, even though you won't actually see the results of this until the very end of the challenge. And it involves a hidden bonus. But if you do it in the way I do it, you will get it very easily and very safely, I might add. Because there is some tougher ways of going about getting this, but you don't have to do it that way. So, now that it's explained what is required, let's get on with this. Right then, this is how you easily tame Drifter's Run. From the very start, very important to know, you are looking to not hit a single freaker until you get to one particular spot in the game, which I will let everybody know about. But right at the start, looking to get a little bit of drifting in, and then I'm looking to hit that ramp at that angle, and it just gets me on the right line for the next jump that is right here. Again, I'm looking to spot my next ramp, which is right over here. Now, this part here, just follow the arrow the way that it shows you there. That ensures that you miss that particular tree. I'm going to slow things down just a wee touch here. You don't need to be going full speed for this section, but just make sure you're just to the right of that tree there. Then use a little bit of boost just to get over the ambulance. It's not essential, but it just gives you a little bit of extra height. Now here, I'm just looking to clip the outside of that particular circle. Now that jump there might seem a little bit precarious, but honestly, Just make sure that both the wheels land on the ground at the same time and you'll get no issues. Now then, moving on to one of the most important parts of this run. Make sure when you get to that ramp, go to the right of it and just fire off a couple of shots. That's the only time you want to be firing at any of the freakers, and I'll tell you why at the very end, why that is so important. But right now I'm working on getting a bit more drifting done. Once I get to the top of this area, I'll look to get over to the next area that you can see highlighted by sticking to the top left of this particular area. It just avoids a whole load of problems, and it's also a very quick way of getting through that section. But now, yeah, this ramp is fantastic because it gives you quite a few seconds of airtime, and now any of the drifting that is still required I like to take care of in this section right here. Even if I don't get it right to 20, I want it as close to as possible. Now, I'll actually get this last drift in place before this last jump even, but if I didn't, I could get it on this last section. Now at this point, you want your score to be over 41,500 points in order to guarantee that you will definitely get a gold score. Because when I cross the line there, it starts off as silver, but it moves to gold. I actually unlocked two bonuses. The Hitman was the main one that I wanted to unlock, which was an extra 6,000 points from hitting those freakers that were part of that horde. But I actually got an extra 3,750 points because, amazingly, they were all headshots, which so rarely happens. But it is what it is. Right then, on to the fourth challenge that Bench Studio released, and this is called Ambush Camp Rush. A fantastic challenge to play, but one that can also give a lot of people a lot of problems. But it doesn't have to be that way. Honestly, folks, when you do it in the way that I show here, you'll have no problems whatsoever. One of the biggest advantages that I create by doing this in the way that I do is that I am not dependent upon time. Because there is one of the sub-challenges that does require you to take out the entire camp in a particular time or less in order to get bonus points. It's simply not required when you do this challenge in the way that I show. In fact, 2 of the 4 sub-challenges really aren't required at all. Now, the gold score for this particular challenge is 25,000 points, and the route to success on this is all about the residue bolts. Because on a run like this, what you're looking to do is to hit a number of targets with these residue bolts, have all the marauders in the camp fighting each other, while you move around the outskirts of it, or the perimeter of it, picking up 1 or 2 very important items. This is actually the nest residue I'm talking about here, as well as this 1 or 2 other things you really want to have in place just to make your life a little bit easier, but I'll show exactly what they are. And if you do it in this manner, you will have no troubles whatsoever. So, the 2 sub-challenges that are important, I have already mentioned residue bolts. You require 13 kills through residue bolts. Not really a tall order on this particular challenge, has to be said. But the other one that is hugely important is Camp Ghost. You simply cannot alert the camp. If you alert the camp before you have taken out 24 of the 25 that are in this camp, then you can forget about the gold score. You really need to, that one I can't stress enough, that is crazy important. So if you do get discovered, yeah, just stop the challenge and start again. But if you're cautious in doing what you're doing, you will not get any issues. So, without any further ado, let's get to this. Right then, here we go. Straight from the off, I'm looking to turn to my left. Want to head over to this camp area here and pick up all the items with the exception of the melee weapon because it is not required. When you see you've got ×9 there on the multiplier, you know you're good. And by the way, throughout the course of this run, do not worry about that multiplier. It is not important. Your ending score will vary depending on how lucky you get at times with when the Marauders are fighting each other, but really just don't worry about it. The first thing that you need to do is get armed with the residue bolt, and this is probably the hardest part of this entire challenge. Just make sure that you hit that armoured guy, and it's got to be in the thigh area, by the way. I usually go for his left thigh in order to make sure that it sticks. If it doesn't, you know, you can just restart the challenge. The hardest part comes very early, but that lot there that I just picked up, that was nest residue. Very important. The nest residue and the cedar sapling, or the trees, are the only things that I'm concerning myself with picking up. Everything else I want to leave. But now, I'm going to throw a Molotov up into this sniper's nest, because that is one of the enemies that you really don't want to be having in the picture. Now, from here, just moving around, because the next lot of nest residue that I'm looking for are a little bit further on around the perimeter. But there is still quite a number of Marauders in this area, so I want to make sure that they are fighting. Now, I don't care which one that I get, I'm always looking for easy targets, and there we go, you're not going to get much easier than that. So now that that one's under the influence, he'll start doing what he'll be doing. So you're guaranteed you're going to get at least one kill, because anybody who is infected with the nest residue, they're guaranteed they're going to die. Depending on how tough they are will depend on how long it'll take, but chances are the Marauders that they're fighting will do the job for them anyways. And that is the next lot of nest residue that I've just picked up there. So 2 of the 3 lots that I could get my hands on I've now got. Very important. I always like to use a mine right there, and that's just a nice wee surprise for the flamethrower guy, who eventually comes out later on in the game. Once the kills remaining get to around about 14, he will make an appearance. But if you have that mine there, you will never see him. Now, I am taking advantage of the bush areas around here. And not only that, on this particular challenge you have survival vision, so definitely use it. It lets you know where they all are, especially when the visibility for this particular challenge is not fantastic at all. And there is one particular Marauder around here that I'm looking for. He's heavily armoured on top, but he's weak at the bottom. But there we go, there's another nice easy target to go for. Always if they're not moving about too much. And do you know what? I've actually hit the fence line there by the looks of it. Never mind. That's one wasted, but it's not the end of the world. Yep, now I've got him. So I would normally head right around to the other side, but I've got a couple of them under the influence here. I'm just going to stay here and watch what goes on. Like I said before, there is one target that I'm looking for. And what do you know? That's him there. Now, for this one, it's got to be a low shot. And I am going to stay around now to watch this. Survival vision will probably be needed, but just to see any of the targets that are coming his way. But just wait, when you get this one under the influence, he does a lot of damage. And it takes quite a while for this one to die from the nest residue. Oh, sorry, the residue bolt that is coursing through his veins. Now, he's far enough away now that I can head over to this area. And these are the last items that I'm looking to pick up. And it's the third lot of nest residue right here. There is also cedar sapling, another component required. So now, I'm looking at the top right to see how many kills are remaining. I normally like to get the kills remaining down to about 7 before I change the crossbow for the BFG. Because that's how I will finish this challenge. Or at least that's how I'll take care of the majority of the rest of them. And given that the kills remaining are at 8, and that guy over there is still to die, so I know it will turn to 7 at some point. Might even go down a bit more if he manages to get 1 or 2 more kills. Then that's it. It's goodbye crossbow, hello BFG. But there is one other item that I require before going on the hunt for the last marauders, and that is a suppressor. And you can get a suppressor from this area that I'm heading to. In fact, it's this hut right over here. Now, I have to be a little bit careful here because now it's daylight, so I don't have as much cover as what I normally would. Now, making sure that I get that suppressor on right now. Yep, there it is, you can see it. Okay, now I want to head back over to the other side of the camp. And as you can see, it's not even been 6 minutes and I'm already close to taking out this camp in a big way. It doesn't always go as smoothly as this, but it doesn't matter. Time is not an issue. What I always like to do is to get over to this area here and then go around the outskirts of the camp in order to get back down. That way you are highly unlikely to encounter anyone that will possibly see you. Now, I'm having a wee look around here. Yep, do you know what? Potentially. And you do have to watch for bear traps, by the way. There's one there that's for the taking, so I'm just going to take them out. Now, you usually find that there is at least a couple up in the area by where I took out the sniper. So I'm just going to move in the bush areas here and look for the rest of them. Okay, there we go. Another couple of targets. These don't have to be headshots, by the way, because it's a BFG. This will frickin' take them out wherever you hit them. Now, looking up here now to see just how many I've got, and I'm actually going to mark these. I've got the binoculars out. Yeah. I'm not seeing the second one up there, but I know there is a second one up there. And I have that one over there as well. So, there we go. Damn, he just jumped down before I could actually get him marked. But, okay, what is going on here? Yeah, I know where 3 of the 4 are. I just don't know where the 4th is. And again, I'm just being extra thorough by taking that one out with a headshot. Okay. 2 more to go. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the gold score requirements are 25,000. Oh, and there we go. That is the one that I just couldn't see. Now, I'm in a very good position here. Because I've taken no damage, I could, if I wanted to, take out that last marauder there right now, and I would actually get a gold score because I would get a 2,500 point bonus for not taking any damage. But if you are a little bit more than 2,500 points shy at this point, this is the failsafe that is employed in order to guarantee that you get a gold score. I am now going to start picking up every item that I can possibly find, and now I am looking to run up this multiplier. I've left that one marauder over in that one area because it's guaranteed he's never going to see what I'm up to here. So you can very safely collect all of these items. And it's very hard to lose the multiplier when you're collecting them this quickly. Of course, because the camp is virtually empty now, yeah, this is an absolute doddle. And do make sure to use your survival vision because it will show you where the dead bodies, for example, are that you can loot. As well as this, there's items here in this hut over here, or well, it's a bit bigger than a hut, but yeah. Get all these items yet. There's an eliminator in there, not required for this challenge. The BFG is the only weapon that really you want to use at any point, apart from the crossbow, obviously. But yeah, there's items up there as well that I need to get. There's also a whole load more items over here. Truth be told, you can get this multiplier up to close to 100 with the amount of things that you can pick up. Yeah, just need to be careful around this area here because there is the odd bear trap. Yeah, there's quite a number of bear traps, but if you stick to certain areas, yeah, you'll be absolutely fine. Or make sure just to be using your survival vision. And by the way, this is another way of extending that multiplier. The items on this side of the inventory wheel, mainly your cocktails and your bandages, anything that you craft there also works up the multiplier. And as you can see, I haven't actually mentioned this already, but I've already hit the gold score now. 27,000. Fantastic. But I'm not finished yet. I'm going to keep going with collecting these items just to show everybody where they all are. Now the bodies that you've killed and whatnot, they are going to vary in terms of their positions. That varies from playthrough to playthrough of this particular challenge. But these particular items that I'm picking up are always in the same places. And truth be told now, because I've already got the gold requirement for the Camp Ghost challenge, even if I got seen at this point, wouldn't make the slightest bit of difference. I've already got the bonus points that I needed. So this is just all icing on the cake. And again, I'm not done yet because there is more items over here. Yep, plants as well. Can also be... I don't actually bother picking that one up on that... well, sorry, I don't think that one was available to pick up. It looked like hemlock, actually. Right, okay. Moving across over here. More items. And yes, mushrooms there. We'll get those. These here. And of course, we've got bodies here. Yeah, I'm probably going to take the multiplier over the 100 at this point. There we go. Right, okay, do you know what? There is a few more items up here, but these are pretty much the last ones. This guy is now going to get it with the BFG. Job done. And I actually picked up another hidden bonus there because I simply wasn't seen at all. And that is the ghost one, which gave me 4,500 points. But I never factor in that I'm definitely going to get that, so that's why I didn't mention it until the very end. But there we go, job done. Right then, moving on to the 5th challenge that was released by Ben Studio, and this is called Keep Them Safer. And this is essentially the Iron Butte Horde. But you have to kill them in a slightly different way to what you normally would, because one of the sub-challenges on this requires you not to do a dive roll in any way, shape or form, or you will lose a ridiculous amount of points. You have to kill this lot without taking any damage whatsoever. Now, as long as you keep your distance, these two sub-challenges are not too much of an issue. Now, one of the sub-challenges that is called Bolted simply has to be taken out of the equation because I do not have any rings that would be able to enhance the bolt kills. So renders that one pretty much useless. And the last sub-challenge is very important because this one does have to be in place. It's not a gold requirement for the sub-challenge, but it is the silver. You require to get 60 headshots in order to make sure that you get a score that is over 165,000, because that is the gold standard requirement here. Now, it is worth knowing this is one of the few challenges that if you have the right rings and they're fully maxed, and along with other patch perks, this challenge is a hell of a sight easier. Now, if you want to see just how that particular version is done, check out my video that is called Going for Gold. It's all about taking out all of the Days Gone challenges like this, but with the help of patch perks and with the help of rings. In that video, yes, the order in which you take out the challenges and whatnot is very, very important. But I can't stress this enough. It's about the only challenge that I could say that there is a huge benefit from having the rings and whatnot. But in the way that I'm going to take out this challenge, it can still be done reasonably easy. So, without any further ado, let's get on with this one. Right then, here's how it's done. To start off with, I want to change my primary straight away because that gun is the better gun for the job here. And straight away, I'm looking to get over to this section, and I'm going to hit this lot with 3 napalm molotovs, and I'm also going to go with my grenade. And yeah, if the flipping inventory wheel will behave itself, I'll get a pipe bomb off as well. Now from here, looking to get a focus cocktail in play, stamina cocktail in play, and I'm wanting distance before I turn around. Okay, here we go. Now we're after these headshots. Now when they get quite near that barrel, I like to make sure that goes off. Fortunately, I've got a few stragglers that managed to miss that blast, so I didn't have time to get any more headshots there, but that's okay. Heading up to the next major point where I'm looking to get these headshots in. You don't get them anywhere near as easy as what you would if you had the 1% ring in your possession, but it doesn't matter. Only 60 are required to get the job done. And worth knowing, there is a time bonus attached to this challenge, so you want to get it done reasonably quickly, but in the way that I'm showing how to do this, it's quite quick when you use certain items here. Now I'm looking to explode that barrel, and I'm also going to take out a few here with that. You'll also get a few burning kills, which will always help your score, but now I'm going for these last headshots. But I want to make sure I've got enough distance. Now I'm going to take out as many of them as I can. Now I'm in a good place. I only require, one more headshot. So I'm just going to get down into this trench section and then take my time until I get what I need here. And there we go. That is all the requirements taken care of for the headshots. Now all I need to do is to take care of all this lot now without dive rolling, which I haven't done up until now. I don't intend on starting, and also without taking any damage. Right, just going to double back on myself. It's just given me a little bit of space. Now you do sometimes find that this will happen, where you get one straggler. But there we go. That is the easiest way, in my opinion, to take out that challenge if you have no rings and no patch perks. Your score normally ends up between around 169 to 175,000. Job done. Right, moving on to challenge number 6, and this is Dead Don't Ride. And truth be told, when this particular challenge was first released, the scoring system on it was an absolute mess, because it rewarded you when you got to the end of the challenge if you completed all 35 drop-offs. The less amount of time that you had at the very end, the bigger your bonus score was, which was insane given that you're trying to create time and do things in as quick a manner as possible. However, it was finally fixed around 3 weeks later, and now it's a very enjoyable challenge to play. Now, in order to get the job done on this one, all of the sub-challenges do factor in to getting this done. And you ideally want them all to a gold standard. If you follow the run route that I take and do things in the way that I do, guaranteed you will get all of these done. Because one of the biggest ways in order to make this challenge easier for yourself is to not use the boost on the golf cart. With the exception of one drop-off. There is one drop-off where you have to activate your boost and hold it down because there is a jump that you have to make. Just once. Other than that, if you do not have the boost in play, the game slows down incredibly. But amazingly, the time does not. You're not doing it quite as quick as what the people in the top 25 leaderboard would be doing it. But at the same time, you're not going to be that far behind them. So, The best advice I can give for getting this done, because most people when they start this will not have a run route in mind, is when you watch this video, just watch what I do every time in order to pick up the passenger that I'm going to be picking up, and watch where I drop them off. Then pause the video and do exactly as I did. And just keep doing this throughout every single pickup and drop off that I do, and you will get the job done. So the 4 sub challenges are this. Close call, parking close to 4 survivors, it's saying. No, the gold standard is 12. And I look to get as close to these particular people as possible every time. Now, if I can also get away with it, I will actually do a drift when going into the position. Sometimes not always possible given where they are, but if you have the chance to do so, because you're just picking up more points. Wild speed, drop off hard survivors. You've got to drop off 4 of these, but trust me, the run route that I take, I cover all these. 5-star driver, drop off 3 happy survivors. Well, the gold standard is 9. Again, not difficult at all, especially a lot of the earlier drop-offs are incredibly easy to pull off. And finally, street sweeper, run over 5 swarmers. You require 20, but honestly, there is so many swarmers around this place. Yeah, not an issue. So, without any further ado, let's get to it. Right then, I didn't mention in the previous section that the gold score for this particular challenge is 80,000 points, but you will get it when you do it like this. And this is going to feel like I'm in slow motion here because I'm normally doing this much, much faster. But as I said before, the boost is simply not required. So this is the first drop off, nice and easy. And as always, especially for the drop offs themselves, I like to do a drift when I'm going into the circle. You're just getting more points. But here are the first potential swarmers that you can get your hands on, well, just by knocking them over. And this one here, yeah, not advisable to do a drift in order to pick that one up, but you can certainly get close to him.
Thanks, man, I appreciate it.
And as you'll notice every time, I'm turning the vehicle round in the direction of where I'm looking to go to next. As I mentioned before, just make sure every time just watch one of these pickups and drop-offs, and then pause the video, and then just repeat what you've seen. That is the easiest way. I don't expect everybody to learn the route, but that point there, that is the only time in this entire run that you need the boost. Now, you simply do not need to bother with it.
What's up?
Now, this particular drop-off is one, if you're not using the boost, you sometimes will not get a happy drop-off with it. Don't worry about it if you don't. All you're losing is 3 seconds of time. And given that I'm not going to be completing all 35 drop-offs, the extra time that you're losing is not going to be applicable at all. You have more than enough time from dropping off these passengers that you're going to be able to do this all very comfortably. Now, there's 4 swarmers you can potentially get your golf cart on there. I've only managed to get 3, but I'm not worried because the one that I missed, I will get on the way back. Again, I'm just making sure every time to try and get in as close as possible because you get a 250 point bonus every time for a close pickup. Of course, and the swarmers about. If you can hit them, that's great. If you miss them, don't worry about it. They are part of the sub challenge, but
Thanks, man, I appreciate it.
They are not essential at the same time. And I always crash into those breeze blocks there because you are on quite a tight schedule time-wise for that particular drop-off. But from here, I'm looking to head out to the right, try and get the landing okay. And then from here, I'm looking to head through this tree section here, just veer slightly to the right. It's a nice wee path through that area. Now, that swarmer that I missed before, that's him taken care of there. get that one as well. Now I'm just looking to get into the centre of the
Thanks, man.
circle.
Appreciate it.
And now it's just reversing back for the next one. Don't have that far to go for this one. Okay, looking to take care of this next one. This is a lot harder when you've got the boost in play, but when you're doing it like this, you do have a lot of time to get that cart manoeuvred exactly where you want it to be. Again, down here, I will use a drift just to come in, and along with the close pickup, it's an extra 500 points, so these all add up. Now, unfortunately, there's a swarmer there that I potentially could have killed, but somebody's already killed it. So,
How's it going?
and that one there, I just settle for a drift pickup, because every time when you're drifting in, you get that 250 point bonus for it. But this is one of your longer drop-offs. And it's right up here. Just make sure to stay to the left of that vehicle there, and then it's up the hill here. There's another swarmer up here that you can hit. After this, I like to just try and get over to the end of the circle. And then up here, again, I've got room to get in close and with a drift. And all these sub-challenges are taking care of themselves while I'm just doing what I'm doing. I'm still a few drop-offs away from getting to the 80,000 point mark, but yeah, it's kind of hard to go wrong when you're doing this challenge at this speed. Let's say that one there, when you're doing it with a boost in play, can be quite problematic, but yeah, not like this. And by the way, folks, if you're playing this on the remastered version, you can actually go into the settings and reduce the speed down further. So even without the boost, if you set this to 75% of the game speed, which you can do for any of the challenges, by the way, on the remastered version, you can slow that golf cart down so much that you can't possibly go wrong. If you're a person that doesn't really enjoy driving games, yeah, I strongly advise you to do that. But right now, a lot of these are taking care of themselves. In fact, the happy drop-offs, they are already taken care of. I've got the 9 required.
Thanks. I really appreciate it.
Let's see how we're doing for the rest. There is one other long drop-off that I've got to take care of, and that's coming up next. That is the last swarmer required to get another bonus. And at the end of this drop-off, I am going to have the 80,000 points required. Now, I will keep going for 1 or 2 more drop-offs just to show people where they need to be going for the next ones, just in case you've made some absolute howlers in ways of mistakes that you don't quite have the 80,000 at this point. But once I get to around the 100,000 point mark, I will then stop the game in the only, well, there's only 1 of 2 ways that you can actually stop this challenge early if you don't complete the 35 drop-offs. The first is that your timer on the top right there runs down to 0. But given that I've got well over 2 minutes of it right now, that's not going to happen. But the other one is, if you drive the golf cart into water, yep, you will drown. So that's the way that I plan on doing it. But yeah, right now this is another one of the long drop-offs. Again, not a particularly difficult one to do. You're just heading up over to this section.
Hey, thanks. Really.
Now, the next pickup is just over this river here. You do have to make sure that you land on the far side, but even without boost, you can make that jump, no problem at all. This one here, though, for this drop-off requires you to double back on yourself. Then again, it's up this hill here, but you're heading over to the right-hand side instead of the left like before.
I don't know, man.
And unfortunately, I did get a neutral here, but doesn't matter. Does not matter. Now, there's only 2 more drop-offs that I'm going to show before I put this cart into the water. This one here, you also have the chance of getting a swarmer at the very top. And he's right there. Because you're not doing this with boost, so much easier to control the landing as well. And this is the last one again. It's another long one. In fact, it's possibly the longest drop off in the entire game for this particular challenge. And this is the easiest way to do it. From here, I sort of follow this road path here. And now it's just cutting through in the quickest way possible here. So it's round the back of these buildings here. Takes you very nicely to this section here, and then there is another gap that you can take, which again makes life so much easier for you here. You're not really having to worry about too much in the way of driving around obstacles, or you're doing the absolute bare minimum to keep away from them. Up here, do have to take a wee turn to the right.
Thanks again, man.
And there we go. I'm well over the 100,000, so the last thing that I'm going to do here just to end this is to fire this golf cart into the lake right here. And this will do it. There we go. Job done. Right then, on to the 7th challenge that was released by Bench Studio. This is the second Endless Horde challenge, and it is called Infested. A tad easier than Surrounded, but at the same time can be problematic. Or at least it used to be. Because very recently I found an easy kill location for this godforsaken challenge, and trust me, it's taken me long enough, close to 6 years it took me to find a spot where I could take advantage of this in a big way, or more to the point, for other people to take advantage of this in a big way, because I don't require easy kill locations, but I'm making damn sure it's as easy as possible for anybody else wanting to take on this challenge. Now, 120,000 points is required for the gold score, and as with all the Endless Horde challenges, the sub-challenges, you can ignore them, because it's all about the multiplier. You've got to get that multiplier up quite high, and the score will then come with it. Now, this one has an added bonus that you can do a setup at the very start, only takes about 3 minutes or so to do, which will all of a sudden start to double the points that you're going to make, which will set you up nicely for the actual method of this particular easy kill location. So, without any further ado, let's get to it. Right then, starting with the setup, because this particular way of taking out this challenge is a two-parter. Now, it's not essential that you do this particular part here, the setup, but if you don't, when you end up going to the easy kill location, it will take you an awful lot longer to get that gold score. I highly recommend you do this first every time. So all I've done is gone into that particular building there. There was an infestation nest. Set it on fire, and all I'm doing now is waiting for the dome that is highlighted here at the moment to shrink and eventually close. Because once that happens, I'm going to go back into the building that I set on fire, and I'm going to walk into that particular room, and then a light will appear, and that will let me know that the entire area is now an open zone, where effectively anywhere I go in the Infested challenge, I will get double points for. You can see at the moment I am actually getting double points here because I'm inside this zone that I have created. But that zone is going to start to close in very soon. And while I'm waiting for all this to happen, obviously I'm just going to take full advantage of the attractors and attractor bombs just to make life easier. I've gone up onto this roof section purely because there is only one way that the freakers can get to me from here. So it can be quite easily defended. Certainly easier defended than certain areas. But thankfully I don't have too long to wait here. I'll just get another tractor bomb down for the hell of it. A little bit more gunfire here. Yeah, there is a few more heading this way, but they are as I mentioned just a few seconds ago, there's only one way that they've got to get to me on this roof section, so they're all running to get over to that area. And that's grand. While they're doing that now I'm heading back over into this house, heading into this room, and you're waiting for that light. Once you see that light, that is it. You're guaranteed to have the open zone for the entire area, and you'll see when I'm making shots here, you're seeing it now, zone bonus, zone bonus. The last thing I have to do for this setup is to get myself killed, and the most important part here now. Unlike with the surrounded challenge earlier, where I always stressed always quit the challenge, you do the opposite here. Gives you the option quit challenge or retry, always select the retry. This will maintain the open zone that you've created. Right then, because I have now created a permanent open zone, I no longer need to worry about burning an infestation nest. So, because I'm going to get rid of this weapon fairly quickly, the US556, I'm just going to get a few shots off, and as you can see there, you can see the zone bonus is in effect. But as good a weapon as the US556 is, I want the IDF pop. And not only that, I want to change the sidearm that I currently have, because it's the little stubby, and I want to change it for the SMP9. So, the area that I'm eventually going to be going to, I'm not really going to get too much use out of the attractors, but they're going to be fantastic for helping me out en route to getting to where I want to go, because I'm throwing one down now just so that I've got the time to get over here, pick up the SMP9, get over this fence line here, and if I can get away with exploding that barrel over there, I probably won't because there's too many of them now, but that's fine. I've got the weapon that I require. There is some more ammunition there. I'm going to make sure to pick that up, and now I'm heading over to the easy kill location. Now, because I have nothing in the way of patch perks or rings, yes, Deep has a ridiculously poor amount of stamina. But the good news is here, although I am getting very low on stamina, you have one stamina cocktail that you get armed with at the very start of this challenge, in terms of the items you always have when you first start. So, I've got that stamina cocktail in play. Now I want to get some distance. A few kills here, then I'm going to hit that barrel. Now I'm heading for this easy kill location. Now it's not the first rock on my left, it's this next one here. And there's a very special way in order to get onto it. Get up to this area here. When you're right beside it there, do a dive roll. And while you're doing the dive roll, select a weapon. It just gives you a little bump. And that gets you onto this rock section here. And do watch, because it is quite precarious. But you do have a little bit of control in terms of the horde itself, because you can move them about a wee bit here. If you like, you can move them over to the left here. And this is an area I am going to take advantage of when I start the multiplier. I say when because, as with the surrounded glitch earlier on that I showed, I simply don't have quite enough freakers to keep the multiplier going in a big way. So, as with the surrounded challenge, I'm going to take the time to use some Molotovs. They're not super effective at maintaining a multiplier, but they're very handy at the moment in order to get a few more kills. And along with this, of course, I'll go with SMP9 for a few more kills. It's not the most powerful of weapons, but obviously it is very quick, and you get a lot more bullets with that as opposed to what you get with the little study that I had before. I really want to save the best weapons for when I start the multiplier. The IDF Pup especially, because it has good bullet penetration. And by the way, if you did happen to take care of the Ambush Camp Rush challenge before taking on this one, you're going to have the benefit of the patch perk, which is extra bullet penetration, which will get you far more kills. But obviously the nature of this video is to show that you can take out every one of these challenges without any of these patch perks or rings. So there's more heading over, but I really want to have some good high numbers before starting this, because the biggest problem you have with this is that they can take a while, the spawning hordes, to to get over to your position, and that is when your multiplier is most vulnerable. So I generally tend to like to get around the 200 mark in terms of total kills before going for it. And of course, I have the luxury of some napalm molotovs to use as well. So yeah, 3 of them in fact, the same as what I would have for surrounded. So now it's just, taking out a few more of these, and I am waiting for the next lot of freakers to spawn. Once I get the next lot into play, that's when I'm going to get to work. And the beauty of having this open zone in play is this. The multiplier, you only need to get to round about 200 in order to get a gold score on this. Without that, without the open zone in play, yeah, you're probably talking nearer 3, maybe even 350 in order to get, probably actually around 300 or so. But right now, and it is taking a wee bit of time for this lot to come over, but there we go, finally. I don't mind though, I still have the IDF pop with pretty much full amount of ammunition, and this one here has a crazy amount of ammunition as well. I'm just going lightly with the gunfire here now. This is purely to keep the timer going, because if you stop firing, then obviously that timer is at risk of running out. Gets to 0, that's it, your run's over. And this is what I mean by them taking quite some time to get over, because I know they've already spawned, but they're not over here yet. This lot really are taking their time. But that's okay. Eventually when they do arrive, I will have really good numbers. And that's when I can let loose with everything that I've got here. So, yeah, again, timer is close to running out, so I've just got to get a few more kills just to make sure that everything's good. And even with doing this the way that I have been now, you can see my score is at 35,000, but here we go. Now I'm going for it. I start with the napalm molotov there. Now I purposefully move them over to my left, and now I'm going to hit them hard with the IDF pop. I want this multiplier going up very quickly. That way it will last quite some time. So this is a great start. Already sitting on just shy of 110. I've still got 2 napalm molotovs, and I will move them back over to the bottom section, just basically because it's safer. You're less chance, you've got less chance of being hit by the freakers down here. Even though every once in a while you'll maybe get one that just gets a tad too close, if you're on point where you're firing, you're not going to get any issues. Now, they are coming over, and this is where you get the attractor bombs into play. I did say before, the normal attractors don't really do you that much good, but the attractor bombs, yeah, these are golden right now, because it's going to take out 20 of their numbers there, get another one there. This just makes sure that that multiplier is staying where it should be. And you know, I've already got them taken care of now. I was just getting ready to hit them big style with these napalm molotovs, and now you can see they are spawning in large numbers. I just seen like a group of 6 on the minimap there appear. But from here, it's just do what you like. The hard work is done, and you can stay up here for quite some time. But not only that, you can come off this area, head over, get some more ammunition, and then get yourself back up here. So, with all that being said, I'm just going to take this video section right to the very end now, because the actual method has been shown, and obviously I've got a few more challenges to move on to. So, but that's how it's done, folks. Infested, not an issue anymore. So at this point, I've got close to 1.5 million here. I did come off this rock section at one point, get some more ammunition, back on here, but right now I really just want to end this challenge. So I'm going to fire myself off here. Amazed I didn't actually die there. I've got 3 proximity bombs to use up, and I'm going to use them. There we go. Go over the 1.5 million mark. Job done. You can get some really high scores if you use this, by the way, folks, which I'm sure I don't need to point out, but I'm going to. Right then, folks, moving on to the 8th challenge that was released by Bench Studio, and this one creates fear with a lot of gamers. It's called Outride. And trust me, folks, when this one was first released, bloody hell did they create a lot of problems for the gamers. Because they had the scoring system, again, completely wrong with this one, but in the worst possible ways. The gold requirements for various sub-challenges were much higher, and you got no speed bonus at the end whatsoever. In fact, on the first week that this was released, hardly anybody managed to get a gold score on it. However, a week later, they did sort out Outride, and they also sorted out Dead Don't Ride as well. So they eventually made both of those play far, far better. But in order to get the job done here, it's not as harrowing a task as what a lot of people might think, despite the fact that a lot of people hate these bike challenges. Most of the sub-challenges do come into play, but the 2 most important ones by far are the sick line. Now, this requires you, it says maintain a score chain for 55 seconds. What it's essentially saying is you simply have to maintain the multiplier, but you have to maintain the multiplier for 120 seconds, or obviously 2 minutes, in order to get to the gold standards for this. Now, as well as this, I also recommend that you take care of the 25 seconds of drifting required for Desert Drifter. That is the gold requirements for that as well. But the Desert Drifter works hand in hand with the sick line, because when you're doing your drifting, obviously you are maintaining that multiplier. So any areas where there is not much in the way of jumps and whatnot, that's what you want to be doing. Now, the Road Killer sub-challenge, you do not require at all. If you want to shoot some freakers for a few more points than that, and you're happy doing that, then by all means do it. It'll get you more points, a better score. But for the majority of people who will probably find this quite a hassle, just don't worry about it. You just need to focus on your bike riding skills here. And if you do this in the way that I show, it's not that difficult. I try and avoid all the really awkward jumps and certain areas that can give you a lot of problems. Just simplify it down to make it as easy as possible. And the last sub-challenge, and this is only the silver requirements for the sub-challenge, is 20 seconds of airtime. Now, a gold for this requires you to get 33 seconds of airtime. That's not essential. You do not require it. And the route in which I take, you're guaranteed you're going to get your 20. In fact, in some cases, you might even get the 33. Now, the gold score for this is 110,000. And as I mentioned before, you do actually get a time bonus at the end of this run. If you do this run in the way that I show, you will get a fairly hefty bonus. Normally, with having all these, in fact, not normally, when you have all these in place, you're guaranteed you will get a gold score on Outride. So, let's do this. Right then, a word of warning by the way on this challenge. If at first you don't succeed and things go wrong, always quit the challenge and restart it, because this particular challenge has a habit of glitching if you go for the retry option. Some of these arches start to disappear and it makes it impossible to get the run done. But right now I'm just looking to get through the first sections there with the arches. Now I'm looking to hit this ramp here. Now, when I get to the bottom of this, this is where I'm going for the drifting, because there's quite a gap in between that jump and the next one that I'm looking to hit here. So, as much drifting in as possible. I'm not really too fussed if I don't get a great deal of height there off that jump. Again, I've got this next section. I want lots of drifting, and then I want just to the right of that signpost there, in between the signpost and the freaker, and then looking to hit this jump. Now, from here, looking to head in between those trees and then to my left. I do it this way because it's a nice transition onto this area here, and you avoid one of the jumps that potentially can be a game ender on this challenge. Now from here, moving over to the left, again going for, you get a lot of airtime on that jump, and you know what, if there is a freaker in your way, just run over them. You do want to ease off on the speed on that though. The reason why I choose that particular section to do a jump off is because I can get that ramp in as well. Then it's more drifting. As you can see, it's keeping everything going here. You can get through the arch. I've got the next one up there. So nothing fancy. Once I've landed, then I'm looking to come off. And again, this area, you just need to be full on with the drifting. If you do that, you will maintain that multiplier, and a gold score will be assured. Because this is a crazy long section before you actually get to another jump. But there we go. That is virtually the job done here, because that is the 120 for the sick line, and I really should have actually boosted a touch there for that second last jump. And there we go, as you can see, a very nice healthy bonus at the very end there. Now 110 was the target. You can see there, comfortably by, and that's all I needed to do. Right then, moving on to challenge number 9 that was released by Bench Studio, and this is Reload. And after the perils of Outride when these were first released, this was like a breath of fresh air for everyone, because this particular challenge is by far the easiest of all 12 to take care of. Now, the score required for a gold here is very generous. It's just 80,000 points. And in order to get this, you don't even need to bother with half of the sub-challenges. Now, one shot and concentration, you can make inroads into these if you like at the very start by going for the BFG. Me personally, I'm just trying to make this run as simple as possible for people. So the more distance that you have away from this horde all the time while you're doing what you need to do is the key to getting this done. And you still get over that 80,000 points by an incredible amount. So let's focus on the 2 sub-challenges that are required, and both of these ideally need to be done to a gold standard. The first is resourceful. You require 60 environmental kills, and I'll show exactly how to achieve them. Now, as well as this, 125 kills are required on Pyromaniac. But trust me, you can get this score without even getting the 125 kills with Pyromaniac. The fact that burning kills are going to come into play so much when doing this run that you build up some good points pretty damn quickly on this. So it's a slight variation on a run I've already shown in the past. I just like to think that this one is even a tad easier than what I previously showed. And it will get the job done every time, I assure you folks. So let's get right to this one. Right then, for the easiest way possible, this is how I suggest you do it, because this horde is on you pretty quickly. But go into focus mode straight away, hit the barrel, and then hit the canister, and then move on. You want to give yourself as much space as possible throughout most of this run. Get up here, then I want to hit that barrel, and if I can get away with one of the canisters, I'll do that as well. Now I'm moving on to the resourceful sub-challenge. It's all about getting these freakers going across what look like wooden crates, which is, yeah, is essentially what they are. And when they fall down, the kills that you get from that contribute towards the resourceful sub-challenge. Now, I'm going to throw a cheeky pipe bomb here, just for the hell of it, get a few more kills. Then I'm just going to stand my ground, hit one of them with the melee weapon, and then I'm moving on. I've now got the 60 kills required, so already in a very good spot. Just going to wait for this lot here now. Hit that there. I'm not even going to bother with that lorry. I have climbed up there in the past. Don't really need to do that. Just looking to get another shot here. Now I'm going to look to change back to the BFG. Now, I don't have fantastic bullet penetration, but the bullet penetration with this is as good as it gets, even without the patch perks and rings. So from here, now I'm going to be moving over to this area. Again, just waiting for them to come. Now, I'm going to make a couple of climbs there, just bunches them nicely here. Then I'm moving them over this way. Now, there's canisters here. You don't have to hit them if you don't want to. You can just wait until you get to the very top section here and go for the barrel. But just for the hell of it, I'm just going to create a bit more fire. That barrel there, yes, I always recommend you hit that one. Now I'm waiting for them. And when they get close, yep, then I'm going to go with this barrel. And the last lot of barrels here are just going to take care of the rest of them very easily. In challenges where you're going for really, really high scores, you'd be looking to just time the shots right so that you get lots of burning kills and don't kill too many of them immediately. I'm not interested in that here, I just want the kills. So when they get through there and a respectable time bonus there, and that gets me a score that is just shy of double the amount required, with very minimal effort, I might add. So there we go, that's reload taken care of. Right, moving on to the 10th challenge released by Bench Studio, and this is Hog Wild. Arguably the most difficult of the bike challenges to complete. The reason being is because not only is it quite a treacherous area that you're having to drive through, but you have to constantly keep your hand held on the accelerator. Now, if that sounds like an impossible task, because you can get away with using the brakes from time to time, but if you do, there is a timer that you have that will start to go down, and it affects one of the sub-challenges, which I'll go into in just a minute. But there is still ways to counteract this big problem that you have in Hog Wild if you know what you're doing. And I'll show you all exactly how to take care of this. But let's get to the sub-challenges that are going to be in play here. And truth be told, most of them are, but one of them takes care of itself without you even having to worry about it as long as you follow the route that I take, which is hang time. You require 20 seconds of airtime. Honestly, that is a doddle on this one. You guaranteed you will get this. There is so many jumps, it is beyond belief. Now, drive-by. It's saying that you require 2 freaker kills while on the bike. For the gold score requirements, you actually require 10. But they're not difficult to get. Drifting is going to play a big part in this run anyhow, and you use it in order to slow the bike down in a big way. In fact, there's some sections where the drift button, and that is the circle button on a PlayStation 5 controller, will really come into its own. Now, the boosting, I am refusing to do that sub-challenge because I feel it's going to make this challenge incredibly tough for anyone. The last thing you want on this is extra speed. Simple as. But the last sub-challenge, and this is a very important one, finish, it's saying with 0.15 seconds or less. That is a very generous sub-challenge for the bronze. For the gold, you actually have to have 17 seconds of time still left on the clock, and you start with 20. So you can only afford to lose 3 seconds of time. If you come off on the bike while doing this challenge, the gold sub-challenge for this is gone. And it's a biggie because the gold sub-challenge for this carries a 50,000 point bonus. There is a big jump down to 25,000 points if you're going for the silver sub-challenge. In fact, the distance is so great that if you come off the bike, just restart the challenge. 25,000 points is difficult to get back here. And truth be told, if you do this challenge in the way that I show, you shouldn't have too much problems with it. So let's get to it, folks. Right then, very similar to Outride. If you have a run where things don't go right, do not retry the challenge. Quit the challenge and then restart it again by reloading it up, because otherwise one or two of these arches will disappear and you won't be able to complete the challenge at all. But here we go, right from the very start, looking to get that big jump in there. I'm using no boost whatsoever when on any of these jumps. In fact, I think I only used the boost at the very end on the very last jump. You don't want to be giving yourself any more speed than necessary. Now, the circle button, which effectively gives you drifting, is superb to be using here. And this is something especially handy to know. If you press the circle button for the drift, when you're on an uphill slope, it will actually act as a proper brake. You can actually stop the bike pretty much completely. And also, if you're coming off a very big jump like what I just did there, if you time the pressing of the circle button right at the very bottom of the jump when you first hit the ground, it will sharply stop your speed for you. So that's another good one to know. Here right now, on an uphill slope there, so using that circle button, getting it pretty close to a proper brake. Now, I've just about, in fact, no, I have taken care of the 10 freakers required. Now I've just got to finish this course. So I've got 2 jumps here, a nice section here. You can use the boost if you want on that section, just to ensure that you don't hit anything there, but other than that, just save the boost for the very end when you have one last jump, because it's a hindrance to you. But now I'm on an uphill slope here, slowing the bike down bike style just so that I can get the line right here, and you want it straight over that ramp. And again, I'm making sure that I've got good control of the speed here. There's another jump there that I can take, and as you can see, that is the 20 seconds of airtime already taken care of, and there is still another 2 jumps to go, albeit now they'll just be the one. Again here, just going to use the drift in order to slow things down in a big way. Just get the line right for this section. And the last section after this arch here, which used to be so tricky, just keep hitting that circle button. Look at this, it is killing the speed. And I want to point that out because I have had 1 or 2 people from a previous video that actually downright accused me of cheating, because they were saying, how can you stop the bike when you're not allowed to press the brake without the timer going down? And that's how you do it. And there we go, safely past the 100,000 point mark. That gets me the gold score that is required. Right then, moving on to the 11th challenge that Ben Studio created. And they must have been fucking bored as shit when they finally got to this stage, because I don't know what possessed them to release this cowpat of a challenge. But it's Dead Before Daylight anyways. And yeah, there is a very surefire method of taking care of this lot, because I do it in 3 parts when taking care of this lot, and I do it in a way that I consider extremely hassle-free. And given that the whole premise of this is that you've got to stay in a house that has freakers coming in all over the shot for as long as possible and just defending yourself, I just don't get it. However, this is how you go about doing it. There is one of the sub-challenges that I do not even bother with, because it bloody annoys me when you have to go into focus mode all the time. Although it does make things a tad easier because you're slowing everything down, the challenge takes longer to complete, and that's my biggest problem with this. But you don't have to use focus at all. If you choose to use that while making certain kills, especially when you're going for the growler kills at the end of this challenge, then yeah, you're going to get a whole load more points. But you don't need it in order to get the gold score on this one. And by the way, the gold score is 47,500 points. Now, the other sub-challenges, one of them is hugely important. That's homebody. It tells you there, spend 2 minutes inside the house. No, you have to spend the full 5 minutes in order to get the maximum benefit of the points that you can get from this sub-challenge. And likewise for the explodables, where you require 15 explosive kills, the gold standard for this is you require 50. Very easy to do when you see how I do it. I have it set up over three very short sections where you take care of that very, very quickly indeed. And as I've already mentioned, you require 100 kills with the growler. I normally reserve that for the very end of the run, mainly when you have the last two waves coming in, wave 4 and wave 5, because it just makes what could potentially be a tricky job very easy, especially when you go to the location that I go to in order to get the job done. So, thankfully I only have to play this one fucking once, so let's do this. Okay, right from the very start of this challenge, there is a few things that I require. First of all, the IDF pup, most important. Just round the corner here, just that first section there, because there's an attractor. And all I need now is ammunition. That's all I'm interested in now. And that's me. I'm full up, so I'm ready to rock and roll here. And this is where it's all going to start. I'm just going to wait for a few freakers to get in there, then explode that barrel. You usually get guaranteed 10, sometimes more. But this really is a Lord of the Rings situation here, because I am Gandalf and this fucking lot shall not pass. They are not getting through this doorway until I choose that they can get through this doorway. And that involves making sure that the first two waves of these freakers get taken care of. And the IDF pop is the perfect weapon to do this with. Good bullet penetration and very accurate. So you can get your shots going off, no bother, through the spaces in this door here without doing any damage to the door, because the special weapons, sometimes you can accidentally hit the door. Trust me when I say the IDF pop is the weapon for the job here. So, and again, this is a point as well where you can choose to start using focus and work on the last sub challenge, which I simply am not going to bother with. I just do not see the point. As I've already mentioned, I have no love for this challenge. I enjoy watching other people play it, but just fucking can't stand playing it myself. But at the same time, I can take care of it, no problem. That's not an issue. So, again, it's just, this takes so much of the hassle out of the challenge, because you're not running about like a loony in this house, because they're not fucking getting in the house. And the only disadvantage that you really have from if you would have the use of rings available to you here is that you can't select a ring where you can do a dive roll and do a full ammunition reload. But now, very important, before I let them in, I want an attractor there so that I have no hassles. Now I'm waiting for them to break through, then I'm hitting that, and now I'm running up here. That gives me plenty of time to get up here, get some ammunition, get it reloaded safely without this lot on my case. Now I can hit that. Just waiting for the next lot that come up here. There's not very many, in fact. Christ, that was badly timed, but that's okay. I've only got one more area now that I want to get them trapped beside, and it's right over here for this next barrel. Because once this barrel's gone, that's it. I've completed that sub-challenge for 50 kills. And I've taken care of most of the third wave. Now, the last tractor, I'm just going to put it down right there. I probably would have got away with not even needing it, because they're really slow in getting up here right now, but I just want to make life as easy as possible for myself. And that's it now. For the last 2 minutes, it's growler time. I am going to fuck these cunts up. Sorry, excuse the language. Honestly, I freaking hate this challenge. But anyways, I've got the growler. They've only got one way to get to me. You maybe think, yeah, well, I've trapped myself into a corner. Well, the way I see it, it's just a nice, easy alleyway section that you are just having a very easy time indeed of killing this lot. Now, as you can see as well, at the moment, I've taken no damage whatsoever. In fact, there's been no hassles whatsoever at all. I've turned a potentially tricky and frustrating challenge into a very easy one. again, if you're looking to get more points, then yeah, by all means, use focus cocktails if you have any. I'm pretty sure you have one focus you can use from the very start, but I just don't see the point. It's not required. All I'm looking for is a gold score here, and I'm looking to show the easiest way possible to get a gold score. So just trying to save people a lot of hassle. But yeah, this lot are just running into a growler. And one important thing to remember when using this bad boy, don't be just holding down the fire button and just constantly keeping it there. Just short bursts with the growler. That will ensure that you have enough ammunition in order to take them all out. Just gives you a little bit more control as well. So I have gone for that barrel there now just for the sake of it. Or would you Adam and Eve it? Fuck's sake, there goes my perfect health. Although you don't actually get a bonus for having perfect health on this, but doesn't matter. The score that I require is going to, yeah, there we go. As soon as 5 minutes is up, that is the job done. That is the easiest way by far to play Dead Before Daylight if you want a gold score. And then you just don't play it ever again. Right then, moving on to the 12th and final challenge that Bench Studios released, and thankfully it was a bit of redemption for themselves, because after the kill part that was Dead Before Daylight, you have Black Friday. This is the last Endless Horde challenge, and there's nothing not to love about this. They corrected one or two of the mistakes that I felt were a little bit extreme with Surrounded and even Infested to a degree, and just made a challenge that is fantastic to play. But it can also be quite frustrating because it's very full on. You are taking on the Sawmill Horde, but you do have a great number of weapons available to you, but you have to buy them with free careers. Like I say, many ways in which you can play this, but if you're just going for an easy gold score, this is the way that I recommend. And it's very much, as with the other two Endless Horde challenges, it's all about the multiplier. Now, there is easy kill locations for this particular challenge. There's at least 2 or 3 that I could have potentially used, but you don't need to. You have a weapon on this challenge called the Growler, which you've already seen on the last challenge, and it is absolutely lethal at decimating this lot when you get them in certain areas. So the whole strategy of this one is to get the 100 free careers that is required to purchase the Growler for the one and only time purchase that you need to get it in order to get the job done, and then moving to a specific location in order to finish off the job. It's that simple when it's done like this. So, without any further ado, for the very last time, let's take out this 12th and final challenge. Right then folks, this particular method has one slight variation to how I would normally do it, purely because of the lack of stamina that Deacon has, but the setup in order to get the Growler is always the same. Because although the stamina is still poor for Deacon at this point without any patch perks or rings, it's still a lot better than some of the other Endless Horde challenges. As you can see, it takes a damn sight longer for the stamina to go down. So at this point it's about 3 very specific grenade locations. That's the first one. I'm looking to get the second one away right there. And the last one is once I get onto this train carriage. Right about there will be fine. Very important when you come off that section there to make sure it's a dive roll, because otherwise you're likely to get yourself killed. So now I'm just looking to retrace the steps of where I threw those grenades. There we go. I can see I've got 103 free careers. If you're a tad shy, just take up that barrel there and then follow the roof section of that area as close to the drop-off point as you can, and you'll pick them up. As you can see there now, I've got 122 free careers, so even if I didn't get the full 100 from them first 3 grenades, I would have got them with that last hit of the barrel. So now I've got the Growler. I'm looking to make my getaway over to this area over here, and I'm looking for the highest of high points around here. Well, actually, no, there is areas that are a little bit higher than this, but they're not as easy to get to. And this one, once you get to the very top, is so defendable. It's fantastic. Now I'm up here, now they're going to get it. And again, anytime you're using the growler, just short bursts, but keep the bursts going. Because now I'm just looking to take them all out as they're trying to get up to this position. Now, eventually they will, but I could come off this position and get into another area where I can finish the job. And the last area that I go to, yeah, I do actually hold the button down on hold down the fire button in order for the growler to go nuts, because you really need to, because they're coming at you much quicker. But I'm not at that stage yet, and truth be told, I could have possibly got the gold medal by just staying up there. The gold score, I should say, sorry. But now, yeah, a lot of gunfire there, and this is going to be my last stand. I would recommend actually you go to this point here and then just give them hell. I've got the gold score. I'm just going to keep going to show you. You can really flipping mess them up here. There we go, that one. And that is it, job done. In fact, that is job done for every single challenge. And that is it, folks. That's how to take care of them all without patch perks or rings. All I can say is thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Take care.